Good evening. Welcome to the Ramadan edition of Minority Caucus. Tonight, we'll be discussing the flood situation in Accra, as well as recent increases in fuel prices and utility tariffs in general. Following the June 3, 2015 devastating flood, President Mahama announced that his government has released funds for the redesigning and implementation of an efficient drainage system throughout Accra. A couple of days ago, he tweeted again in memory of those who died last year that his government will continue to correct developments which led to the disaster in 2015. Few days after the reassurance from the president, the city is submerged in yet another catastrophic flooding. We'll go for a break. When we return, I would introduce my guests. You're welcome back. My name is Akbar Ruhullah Homaini. Tonight, two distinguished personalities have joined me to help do the discussion. On my immediate left is Saka Salia, a member of the NPP National Communications team. And on my right is Kamaldeen Abdullahi, the National Coordinator of the New Patriotic Party. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you, Akbar.
Before we proceed, we will dedicate today's edition to Muslims across the country and to convey to them the wishes of Nene Kufuor and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that we use the occasion of this holy month to pray for our country and to pray for peaceful elections in November. Welcome once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today, I'll start with you, Kamaldeen. Our country, our city is submerged in flood. Last year, around the same time, we witnessed a similar situation that led to the death of nearly 200 people. Several promises were made by officials of government, including the president, that we were not going to experience similar flooding going forward. What is your opinion about today's sad situation?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Once we're dedicating today to our Muslim brothers and sisters, I would love to seize this opportunity to wish them a happy Ramadan and also to say that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala see us through this 29 days or 30 days of fasting. We pray that our supplications be accepted by Almighty Allah. Again, peaceful election is what Nanado has always asked to wish for, and ensuring that justice be done to ensure that we have fairness and peaceful election. He's always admonished Mother Ghana, in fact the citizens of Ghana, to ensure that we uphold nothing but peace. I pray and hope that Muslims will pray for such an event to be, as it were, peaceful. Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, wherever he is, happy Ramadan to him as well, and to all Muslims in the New Patriotic Party.
He's in the Ashanti region at the moment.
Very good. Akbar, perennial problem. Talking about flooding in Accra. You see, I'm overwhelmed and amazed by the fact that authorities who are supposed to ensure that this problem, which keeps occurring every year, each time we go into the rainy season, is curtailed, have reneged on their duties to doing that. Clearly, it tells you that there's no show of commitment by this government. The NDC the NDC government, I will have to say, or the John Mahama-led government, okay, to solving this problem, which is, of course, claiming lives. Then I dare to ask, where then lies their mantra when they say people matter? Where then lies that? The point is that you come campaigning and tell us that within 100 days, I remember in 2008, they did mention that within 100 days, should Ghanaians give them the mandate, the fault in this country, or for that matter, a Greater Accra, would be narrowed to zero. Where are we?
8 years down the lane.
8 years down the lane, we are told that some rubbish or some garbage is being distilled from Odo River and all that.
Korle Lagoon.
Korle Lagoon.
In fact, the mayor a few days ago said that Accra was ready for the flood.
Absolutely, I'm coming to that. We are told that heaps of garbage cause floods in Accra. We are told that some drainage system is not properly done. Someone who gave you 100 days, effectively 3 months and 10 days, is not able to, as it were, uphold his or her promise. Then yes, the NDC is not the way to go. Completely is their failure and nothing else. Nothing shows that the word ineptness is not fit for them. 2, you just reminded us that the mayor of Accra had the guts to tell us that, look, everything that has been put in place to ensure that flooding will not occur again after the June 3rd disaster last year. Immediately after he finished talking to us, I think he spoke to us 2-3 days ago.
Yeah, a couple of days ago.
Today, go and have a look at the NDC headquarters. Their headquarters, the one they used $20 million to build. Go and look at how submerged it is in water. That edifice. Then I ask myself, what then happens to planning? What happens? You see, yes, it could be an act of God, some will argue. But this is a deliberate human error caused by the NDC. And we need to mention that. These are people who come to tell them we want to turn Accra into a millennium city. They go to bring Jeffrey Site to go around with a helicopter, look at Accra. Up to date, I have not seen anything turn into Accra. Turning Accra into a millennium city. Yet the gentleman sits there, comes out to tell them that all is well, things are put in place, measures are put in place. The next moment, Akbar, all we witness is lives being claimed by floods.
And properties. Properties worth millions of cedis.
Yes. For me, there's nothing to say than to say that we should show the NDC an exit. That is the only way. You see, there's somebody who argued that, look, these are floods. Rains, they don't control rains. They don't do this. Therefore, why do you try to lay blame at the doorsteps of those in authority? Clearly, I will tell you. If you came and you had cause to tell us that you are going to ensure that the drainage system is well constructed, I remember those days.
Yeah, and even on the 10th of March 2012, this was a story by the Daily Graphic in which $795 million was given, according to government, to reconstruct the drainage system in Accra. $795 million.
In connection with the Conti project?
Yes.
What happened to it?
Nothing.
Nothing. You see, for me, I think it's sickening when you have to spend your time to talk about the incompetence exhibited by this government. And in fact, it appears it's not going to stop any day or anytime soon, I should say, at all. Because they are not committed to ensuring that the proper drainage system is put in place. Let me tell you, the commitment that the MPP government showed. Alaju had a very serious problem prior to the coming of the NDC. Okay? The Kufuor-led administration ensured that the drainage from Achimota thereabout, running through Alaju, connecting to the Odo or wherever, was done. And today, as we sit, clearly when it rains, people in Alaju sleep. The other ones that are left that you're supposed to ensure that you do it and continue with it, when you came, what did you do?
They abandoned it.
They abandoned it.
Those areas were badly
abandoned it. I'm not surprised that my good, what's this man? This man, Tornado. I remember when he was made an evaluation, as it were, analyst or policy evaluation analyst in the castle, at the presidency. He said something. He was asked a question: why wouldn't they continue with the projects of President Kufuor, the good projects of President Kufuor, and ensure that they complete it and all that, so we can have a very, as it were, smooth running state or nation? You know what he said? He said, why? They should go and continue with those projects, finish them, then the credit will go to Kufuor. They wouldn't do that. This is somebody who's supposed to be thinking for Ghana on policy.
And evaluating
policies. This is someone who said so. So for me, I think that, Akbar, we have gotten to a point where Ghanaians have become discerning. This election that we are going into, inshallah, in November or December, okay, ought to be an election where we're going to exhibit the highest sense of maturity. Then vote on issues, vote as though we are discerning voters, and would have to eschew what is lies peddled by politicians. And in fact, for that matter, the NDC. Because the man comes to tell you that I'm going to do X, Y, Z. The next moment he comes and he's doing something different. And it's so, you can, myriads of promises they have given to us. In fact, a plethora of promises, all broken. The NDC have failed. That is no wonder their office today is submerged. It's flooded. You look at the pictures, worrying. All because somebody gave us hope. In fact, false hope. Sit down, and the next moment you are using money to pay gargantuan amounts. I used to pay questionable judgment debts. If 35 million cedis was done out to my good brother, what's his name? Woyomi. $35 million.
Let me remind our viewers, the videos they are watching and the pictures are scenes from today's flooding, and currently it's raining heavily in Accra.
Interesting.
You can continue.
Well, you can look at it. If you have, just look, imagine, this is what is happening in Accra. And if an amount of $35 million, okay, is given to an individual in the name of a judgment debt, which your own government goes to court to contest, that look, this was fraudulently paid and that they were defrauded, went to court, okay, the next moment you cannot even retrieve a dime of that money. You can imagine how much that money could have been used. I mean, how much work that money could have been used to do, as it were, in Accra, in helping construct drainage systems so we can have a proper running of, water in case there's rain or there are rains. So for me, what I would like to say is, again, is that the NDC have failed, and they have failed us completely. And of course, I would also like to drop by saying that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, I believe he's watching these pictures. I believe he's watching these videos. Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, I believe he's watching same. And of course, a commitment ought to be shown to the people of Ghana. And we have done it. And we said we're going to abolish the cash and carry. We're going to abolish cash and carry. We did it. We said we're going to repeal the criminal libel law. We did it. We said we're going to ensure that pro-poor policies were put in place. We did them. These are people who are serious in governance. Not about turning governance into jokes. These men I've mentioned, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, inshallah, should the mandate be given them, they shouldn't fail us. And I know they will never fail us. They will ensure that the right thing is done, the proper thing will be done, so at least water and sanitation will be high in their governance.
Viewers can join the conversation on our WhatsApp platform 05608 0000 and on our social media platforms, Facebook, Joy News on TV. Saka, yeah. This was President Mahama on June 5, 2014. He said that I have directed the finance minister to release funds for the construction of storm drains, and I promise these floods will not happen again in future. This was in 2014. There's a UN report, the UN Habitat report. So it is not as if we don't know what the causative factors are, which was presented to government in 2011. In that report, they identified poor drainage systems as one of the major causes. And this was President Mahama in 2014, just 3 years after receiving the report. We are where we are.
Yeah, Akbar, thank you very much. Like my brother did from the beginning, I extend my greetings to all Muslims who are fasting. Ramadan Kareem to everybody. My greetings to Nanado and Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. Yeah, I mean, you are right. Poor drainage as the causative factors or factor of our perennial water drainage problem is really the case. The fact of the matter is that the NDC government, after learning from the ravages that ravaged this country in the past, and with time, they should have learned. That is the reason why I think that certain people normally say that, oh, flood, this is natural occurrence and all that. It is not natural occurrence. I have always consistently seen that the problem that confronts us in the matter of this flood it has to do with leadership. Clearly, it has nothing to do with politics. It is the truth. It is leadership and leadership. Look, why is it that we are living in a greater Accra, in Accra for that matter? Anytime there is a deluge, you see everybody running helter-skelter. This has been the case even in the past. I mean, from the 68 up to now. Let me tell you, the reason why one would say that is leadership. In 1868, when this flooding occurred, it occurred again in 1995. It occurred again in 1987. From 1987, it occurred in June 2001, 6 months after President Kufuor took over power. And President Kufuor, in reaction to that devastation, actually promised the good people of Ghana that never in his government will he sit down and allow the suburbs of Accra to be flooded again. And through there, he ensured that he contracted these French people for them to construct that storm drain, those storm drain. Today, I'm sure everybody knows about the success story.
Only Accra, even in Tamale, the Arab contractors were brought in.
Exactly. Everybody knows the success story. And since then, there has not been any, flooding in terms of, in areas like Alaji and other places. But fast forward, when MPP had lost power and had gone, our brothers, the NDC, assumed power. Unfortunately, 2009, because the work that President Kufuor did and all that was still there. So we never had flooding in 2009. But 2010, we had flooding in 2010, 2011, we had flooding 2012, we had flooding 2013, we had flooding 2014, 2015, and 2016. No wonder a Canadian actually bet with friends that they will be flooding in Ghana last year. Yeah. And they actually won. Yeah.
And because he actually said in June.
We lack leadership. We care a hoot about the lives of people. That is the clear difference between us and them in the developed nations. In the developed nation, when one life or even a property is lost, they would ensure that it does not repeat itself. There will never be a déjà vu. In our case, it's quite different. We care less. We simple, there's a clear deficit between what we say and our actions. And that epitomizes the NDC. Everything that they say, if you want, I mean, they are very good, they can give you
quickly, information just came in that NADMO officials have to move to circle at the Braka around those areas are hugely flooded, and they have to move in quickly in order to save lives and property.
Yes. So I'm saying that all the promises the president made, I mean, when he visited in 2014, when he visited Malam and Odoko areas, he told them that he was going to ensure that he even said that he has ordered the finance minister to release funds for the construction of drains all over the place. We know of the Conti project, and they came and told us that even the Conti project has gone through parliamentary approval, and that the Exim Bank USA and Standard Chartered Bank were going to finance the project and all that. So they would never, in the words of the president, he said there would never be another flooding in Accra anymore. Yeah. And today, we are witnessing it. Look at last year. Apart from even the flooding, look at the train disaster that happened. And I was shocked, the reaction of government. Because look, even before the last year disaster, the June 3rd disaster, I had told friends that there will be a serious disaster. Because everybody knew it was going to happen, including the Canadians and all that. And lo and behold, when it happened in June 4th, I thought the president and his cabinet or whatever would have taken steps to ensure that we never had any flooding again. But what did they do? Look at what they did. We all knew the problem actually emanated from the fact that the Odo river was silted and needed to be desilted with dispatch. They were dilly-dallying. They said they had gotten some monies to do all manner of things. But at the end of the day, what did they do? He sat down, asked his brother to go and do the desilting. Now the brother went there to do the desilting. What did he do? He used our own vehicles. Yeah. Man deserves that Ghana government had bought. Yeah. He was even the same person. I mean, Ibrahim Mahama was the same person that sold those vehicles to the government. And they were still in his possession. So he had to go and take them, use them, go and add money. And he called it fuel money. And then, you see, in a disaster of that magnitude, one would have expected that the president would have, as quickly as possible. This is where you actually need real soul sourcing. You get the point. You go in for a company that actually had the expertise, and that could do the work in time. And it's not only EMP that could do that job. They ended up saying that EMP was doing it out of benevolence.
Yes.
How can you respond to such disaster of such magnitude by relying on the benevolence of your brother? That tells you they were not serious. They were not serious about the lives that lost. He promised giving them money as compensation. Up to date, those monies have not gone. If the money has been paid, where is the money? Nobody knows where the money is. So that is the reason why we are repeating, the same thing is repeating today. Today, what is happening? I mean, everybody is seeing it on the set. When I was coming, I was listening to some of them still arguing that nothing was happening. Even though people have lost their lives. Even 2 weeks ago, when it rained, I mean, even the magnitude was not as high as
today. Yeah.
As today. But we had people who lost their lives. Yeah. And let me tell you, ever since the other the Sultan started, I mean, it's if we are serious, we can desilt it within 6 months. Today, as we are speaking, it's yet to be desilted. I mean, it has not been finished. It's about halfway desilted. That tells you our response was bad. There was no agency in it, and all that. So to be honest with you, when you see government officials and even the president himself, they normally try to negate their own duties by parrying the problems to the public. What they do is that the attitudinal problem of Ghanaians, when it's about to rain, they come and stand on the roadside and then pour. No, but it's the responsibility of government. Remember, when Kufuor took over power and he needed to orientate the minds of the people, he did not just sit and leave it to the moral suasion of the people. He ensured that he created a ministry that was a Ministry of Information and National Orientation, so that they will orientate the minds of the people. And apart from that, what you do is that you bring a very punitive status to ensure that anybody caught doing such things is dealt with the full rigors of the law. But all these things have not been done. The government come every year in, year out. When there is a serious deluge, then they will come and then give digest. And after that, then they go and sleep. I think that we don't govern, the people by such method. It has shown that the aptitude of governance exhibited by John Mahama, I mean, actually leaves much to be desired. We should ensure that people's lives are protected, properties are protected, and all that. But not this kind of things, where you get up, when it rains, you see one or two people, including even the information minister, just issue a statement, everybody should run towards high grounds, and that is not how we solve the problem. Yeah. There are situations where, look at the last time it happened, and people had to seek refuge at the what do you call it, the filling station. It's not as if they wanted to be at the filling station.
They had no option.
They had no option. The whole place was flooded. There were nowhere to go. You could not go anywhere than to stand still and all that. So the only way out is to do the needful, and that is to ensure that we get the drains done. We have money as a nation. You see, it's a matter of priority. If we believe that sanitation and all those things, I mean sanitation and drainage is our priority, because we want to protect lives and all that, we can get money for that. But you don't only rely on, benevolence of your brother or whatever. Even at the end of the day, it came to light that the brother was not.
We were paying for it.
We were paying for it. He was taking sums of money. I mean, exorbitant sums of money from the taxpayers' place.
Let me bring in Kamal. It looks like President Mahama, his family and friends are profiting from the plight of the people, because you remember last year 60 million Ghana cedis was voted post the disaster to take care of victims and survivors, and several promises were made, several contracts have been given to the president's family members, and nothing has happened.
Without apologies to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he asked a question during his presentation of the real State of the Nation address. Mr. President, do you live in the same Ghana we live in? That was the question he posed. Whether Mr. President or the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, lives in the same Ghana we all live in. Because they seem to see things differently from the masses, from what we all see. They tell us this, and the next moment is that. So for me, when you ask the question whether the president and his family are profiting from this form of government we have, or this kind of government that we have today, an emphatic answer will be given. Yes. Salia alluded to the fact that equipment procured by the Ministry of Local Government for Mother Ghana, and in fact, for onward distribution to our district assemblies, for some of these, as it were, jobs, is given to an individual who is the president's brother in the name of going to distill, as it were, Kwale Lagoon, in the name of he being an expert, engineers and planners. You know that. Where are we today? After giving our equipment and his private company's stickers were embossed or pasted on those equipment to make it look as though it's coming from engineers and planners. We are still where we are. So for me, the profiteering is clear. And I think there's nothing that will take us away from that. But you see, interesting, you gave a very sad announcement in the course of Salia's submission regarding NADMO moving to Circle to ensure that citizens or lives are, as it were, saved. What are they moving with? Just within, it's not up to a week. NADMO came out crying that they are completely under-resourced, they have nothing in their coffers, and they have run out of funds, and there's nothing, should any disaster come today or occur today, they will not be able to, as it were, help the situation. So what are they moving to Circle with? What are they moving to Circle with? And today we sit in a country, the chairman of the NDC, Potofi, Dr. Potofi, immediate past NADMO boss, had cause to tell Ghanaians, okay, during their, as it were, campaigning for their internal primaries, that the appointment of his deputy, one of his deputies, Anita De Soso, was in itself a disaster to the nation.
That's true.
He said so.
Oh, yeah.
You see, we have to draw the attention of people to some of these happenings.
And she's still at post.
She's still at post. I'm coming there. That is why I'm saying that with what is NADMO moving to Circle, the NDC chairman tells the whole Ghana that the appointment of his deputy was in itself a disaster to Mother Ghana. And she's still at post. Disaster going to take care of disaster. Interesting.
Yeah, double disaster.
Double disaster. You see, NADMO, as we said, we are told they have no money. The finance minister said, when Dr. Bawumia came out, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him and bless him again, to tell us that you had gone to get some money, about $250 million. You claim that money is lodged in an account at Bank of Ghana, and that money is idling. That's what you said. Today, as we said, district assemblies, municipal assemblies, metropolitan assemblies are in need of money for infrastructure development. Drainage construction is infrastructure development. That money is idling. Yet you tell that people matter, you care for you. You care for who? Do you really care for us? They didn't even stop there. They had to go pick this money, change it from the hard currency, the dollar, to cedis, move it to a commercial bank, tell the commercial bank to loan it to them again, so that they will pay with interest.
20%.
And yet, we sit here and people are dying as a result of floods. $50 million out of that money could have done a big job in Accra. $50 million out of that money could have done. You see, so when we talk of the ineptness and the incompetence of this government, we mean what we're talking about. These are pointers proving to the fact that the people don't mean well at all. You see, I'm not politicizing the whole matter. My good brother mentioned it. In 2010, it occurred. In 2012, it occurred. Other years, previous years. I remember even during Kufuor's time, we had the serious floods up north.
In 2010, 30 people died.
Absolutely. But we did a lot about it.
Okay, all right.
We did a lot on that. Now, these people sat down. They have come from 2010. If it has become an annual ritual, okay? Every time it occurs, no solution. We are where we are. Yet they are telling us that we should believe them. 250 million is idling. It's just lying down. It has no use. I mean, come on.
And we are paying interest on it.
And we're paying interest. We've gone to give it to somebody to loan it to me. Akbar, can you imagine my money? I come to give it to you and say loan it to me again. Then I pay interest on it.
Now you're already paying interest.
If this is not thievery, if this is not thievery, if it's not stealing, let me borrow the words of my father, ICQ. If they are not stealers, what are they? So for me, I think that once again, I am appealing to Ghanaians. I am happy I cited a report that said that, I don't know how accurate it is though, but I think that it is a report, and because the result, the recommendation therein, or the result therein, of course, will inure to our benefit. It says that about 85% of voters today are discerning in this country. And I am praying and hoping that we are going to ensure that maturity and our conscience is going to guide us to the ballot box. Because if we should continue like this, I wouldn't know where Ghana is heading to. My hard-earned money, me, because it's my money. I pay taxes, okay? I am told by their own man, Martin Amidu, that huge crimes, okay, day in and day out is committed against Mother Ghana by elements in government. My money, I am told by a minister in this government, in fact, a deputy minister, that there are people in this government who are acquiring and busy acquiring ill wealth. Stood in Tamale and said it on a radio station. Filthy wealth. So if today Ghanaians are told that there are people, appointees in government, acquiring ill wealth, they are busy amassing wealth, and you think I should be comfortable? I am told again by the apex court of this land, in fact, a gentleman who I respect so well, one of the justices who, of course, is at his peak. He understands nothing but truth. Yeah. Doche, he says, people are busy creating and looting and sharing.
We'll go for a quick commercial break. When we return, I'll bring in Saka. Welcome back. Let me take some text messages. This one from Gilbert, Morgan International Community. He says that circle again, I think we are not a serious nation. Noble lives have been perished, but nothing was done. We must stand and do something about circle. When we went for a commercial break, the news coming in isn't pleasing at all. The whole of circle at the Braka, those areas are so flooded. Lives are under threat and properties are being destroyed. State authorities would have to move in quickly to be able to avert yet another disaster. We cannot afford to lose several lives like we experienced last year. The city authorities need to move in. Government officials must get out to ensure that they serve the people well. Saka,
yeah.
What we are going through, if President Mahama had applied the $759 million, I mean, that was almost $1 billion on drainage systems in Accra, we wouldn't be going through this situation. But as we speak, nobody knows the whereabouts of the $759 million.
Exactly. I when I started my submission, I asked where that money is. And I want to believe that actually they have diverted the money to something else. Either they have diverted it or the money has once again dissipated into private pockets and all that, because that is symptomatic of this government. You know, they will not do the needful. What they would do is a political project and all that. Somebody said that a circle is akin to, you know, a decorated monkey. You know, before you even do this flyover and all those things, you should ensure that the place is safe enough for people who ply their trade and all that.
To be able to contain floods.
you get the point. If you see the pictures, I mean, we are seeing it, and if you go to social media and see, it's an eyesore. It does not depict a Ghana anybody will want to live in. It actually, you know, lost its glorious luster. Nobody would want to even visit Ghana or even Accra because of fear of, you know, being, you know, taken by flood and all that. So the money, they should tell us where the money is. Because they told us that they had parliamentary approval. Indeed, the US Exim Bank and Standard Chartered Bank has actually given the money to them. That is what they told us, unless they are lying to Ghanaians, as usual. So if the money was given to you and the president actually cut a sword, the president actually cut a sword for work to begin on the Accra drains. And it's mind-boggling. It's sad. Let me tell you, in 2010, Commodore Steve Obimpe was chosen as the chairman of a task force that come out with, you know, the solution to the Accra drain problems and all that. They were 11-member committee. He was the chairman. He actually presented his report that was signed by Akulugu, who was then the information minister. And they presented it to the chief of staff there, Henry Marty. And on that day, Henry Marty said that we were going to ensure that this report is implemented to the letter. This was the words of Henry Marty then. And today, as we are speaking, because in the report, it was recommended that we should have, you know, a short-term, medium-term, and long-term solutions. And not even the short-term solutions has been implemented as we are speaking. Because absolutely nothing has been done. And we sit and say that we care for the people, and we even, to the extent of even asking for their mandates. I think these people are taking Ghanaians for fools. We are not. Ghanaians are wide awake. And I think that they would actually, you know, give their verdict come 26 November, because it's serious. As a nation, look at what happened. We are, like I said, we are not that poor, but if you have poor leadership, the country itself will become poor. We have the capacity to build one of the best drains in the world, because we have the means, the resources, but what we don't have is the will and the knowledge to implement it. Because we are very good in talking and blaming others, blaming the innocent bypasser for our predicament. They should not be the people to blame. We as leaders, because every move of the citizen must be ensured that the government, you know, guide it. The government cannot sit, you know, and allow things to get to a level that cannot be managed and then come and then blame the citizen. That is completely out of place. So I'm saying that this flood that we have now, not the past floods, because like if 2001 we had a flood June, but ever since until James Kufuor left office, we never had flood in his regime. That tells you it's about leadership. So if in your regime it occurs every year, it has become an annual ritual.
That people can place a bet.
And people, foreigners can play. When this thing happened, even BBC, all of them, they were giving, you know, government the blame. You remember this thing happened in 2015 when the mayor himself was, you know, busily hosting other mayors across the world and was giving himself all manner of accolades. Best mayor, I don't know who chose him as the best mayor and all that. Look at the problem that confronts us. Instead of us get somebody who will focus, the president himself you know, you are as good as your appointees. If your appointee is as poor, then it tells you
a
you have a
reflection
problem.
of your judgment.
Exactly so. This is a mayor that has not been able to live up to expectation. And he has been left off the hook, and he has been left to still, you know, paddle his way through. Even to the extent of him going to ask the people's mandate as a legislature. I think we are not serious. If we are serious as a nation, these people must not spend a day longer in office. Because that is how governance is about. That is how, you see, that is the reason why power has been given to the individual. Power has been given to the electorate. That if somebody comes and the person is not performing, and especially when it comes to life and death issue, well, this flood is about life and death. Our lives are being lost, our properties are being, you know, damaged, and nobody is saying anything.
Saka, let me bring in Kamal.
Well,
we cannot really move away from this flooding issue because at the moment lives are under threat and properties are at risk. So we are appealing to NADMO officials to move out quickly in order to save the situation. It's raining heavily at the moment. From GBC to Paloma through to Circle, the whole area is flooded and city authorities would have to move on. Kamal, the latest trick by government is regarding fuel prices is to increase without announcement so that they won't cause public disaffection.
Yeah. You see, it's interesting how we are being treated as citizens of this country, or how we are treated by this government. The last time I checked, the definition of government included all of us. Apparently, today, some people think that they are rather government proper, and we are not government. Yeah. Because if definition of government involves all of us as one, then you want to, as it were, take a step that would come to affect us either positively or negatively, then you refuse to mention it to us. I'm not surprised that this morning on a different station, TV station, we reviewed a program, okay, an issue, which issue had to do with a citizen of this country taking this government to court for, in fact, refusing to properly inform us of some agreements or decisions that they are taking, which of course would affect us. On the Getimo 2, you know, it's in court, at the Supreme Court, and the judges had to even push the AG to come in to, as it were, speed up his game on this matter. You see, Accra, 59 years down the line, independence. The NDC, and I want Ghanaians to notice, the NDC, PNDC, NDC, coming from same tradition, had close to 35 years out of the 59 to rule us. 35 years. Out of the 59 years of independence, the 24 is shared among Kwame Nkrumah, Buzia, you know, the Akufu and whatever, and then the MPP. They alone, they've had 35 years in government. Today we are talking about floods. We are talking about what? Inflicting hardship on us, in fact, which we didn't call for. Because if your management is right, and factors that go to inform fuel prices are gotten right, then you and I would not be sitting here and complain about the hikes in fuel prices. In any case, we as a people agreed that a law ought to be promulgated to ensure the, as it were, the arrangement regarding fuel pricing. And as we say today, we have the automatic price adjustment system, or whatever you call it. I want to ask this government, are they heeding to the law? The law tells us clearly that in the international market, should prices of fuel drops, it is expected that domestically our prices would automatically drop. We sit in this country at a point, because these people are milking us, squeezing the water out of us, and making us dry, and we can't talk. We sit in this country, fuel prices drop to the lowest level, around $36 a barrel. In the course of this year, or was it last year? Tail end of last year. when we asked them why they were not dropping the prices, they had cause to rush to Parliament again and even add what we call petroleum tax on it. My good brother, if you're watching me, you're a businessman, you are somebody who imports and exports, you are somebody who has an industry, you need to rely on petrol, diesel, and whatever to energize your industry, and you are paying that much, you have an opportunity. The opportunity to oust these people legitimately by voting against them. And it's your duty to do it. When you look into our constitution, as part of your duty, you ought to vote or you can be voted for. And please, let us ensure that this duty is taken and held in high esteem. Because we can't continue in the hands of this ineptness. We can't continue in the hands of this incompetence. We can't continue in the hands of these people who have no feeling whatsoever for the people of Madagascar. Why? These people came and stood with a board in 2008 and got at Ahoy with a chalk, calculating prices of fuel,
taxes on petrol,
and taxes on petrol and all that, and told us they would reduce it drastically. Those were the West. In fact, they chose them well. Only for us to give them the mandate. They got the mandate, and they have had cause to tell us why they could not reduce it drastically and why they will not even go by the law when the thing goes down. The forex market is also another factor. How well have they been able to manage the forex market to where we are today? 2009, when we were leaving government, we left the forex market. A dollar was 1 cedi to 20 pesos to a dollar. Then we handed over nicely to them. In fact, after they sat down and drank tea and could not even account for it. You remember when they were doing that? They drank some tea. Close to about 4 billion. Some billions of cedis.
1.6
that tea, 1.6 billion. Very good. They drank some tea. After drinking tea and handing over, took it and could not even, as it were, account.
We're running out of time. Let me bring in Saka to hear his views.
Maybe I'll just land and then Saka will come in. After doing all this, they have refused to work on the forex market, and that is where we are. So I think that Ghanaians, once again, today they say they won't announce when they are going to increase fuel. Please, don't also announce when you are going to take them out. Thank you.
Saka, these guys seems to be socialists with strong appetite for profit. As a social government, they're supposed to be for the poor.
Good description.
And yeah, I mean, you are right. I mean, they are not. That tells you that they are not socialists. You know, they just gave the name to themselves. You remember this name was given to them in 2004 when they were looking all over the place, looking for ideology to attach themselves to. So they are not living by their social principle that they espouse. I think, you see, the fact that these people can decide to increase tariffs and then, you know, fuel increase and all that, tells you one thing, that they are running the government in obscurity. They don't want what is happening, and that is quite different from what the president tells us. You remember the president when we went to the State of the Nations address, he told us that about the paradox of, you know, exposure. He says it looks to people that the government is corrupt because they themselves, you know, have been giving out information and exposing corruption and all that. It is not true. These are people who have always ensured that they do the cover-up, serious cover-up. Whatever that they do, they ensure that it does not come out for anybody to know. But they have forgotten that we are an informed democracy. Informed democracy, we are no longer in what they used to call benevolent paternalism, where, you know, the big brother will just come and say that I want to do this thing for your own good. I want to increase it in order to get money. No, we are in an informed democracy where whatever that you do has to go through, you know, transparency. There must be transparency in government. But if you come and you decide to put everything in obscurity, and then you remember, in 2009 or 10, they put some 1 cedi as part of the petroleum price build-up. Caucus and Co. had to take them to court. And up to now, you remember, you remember up to now, they have not been able to refund those monies. And as to what they use those money for, up to now, nobody knows. Then come this, a stupendous increase in prices, where you can just sit down the next day, you hear that. You even go to the pump before you realize that there is increment. Look at the electricity tariffs, for instance. All manner of excuses has been given. All manner of lies. Let me not be too much refined. All manner of lies has been given as to the reason for the astronomic increase and all that. And those reasons are not tenable. It all has to do with the fact that as part of the conditionalities of the Millennium Challenge accounts,
time is
you needed to fulfill to ensure that the ECG debts and everything is taken off and all that. So government in cahoot with some unscrupulous people within ensure that they did those increments. Now, what they are doing is just to put the heads of the state institution, PURC and ECG. Now you see one accusing the other, but government actually is a cause of all these problems. You go to the pump, look, there are factors that ensure pricing of petroleum product and all that. And some of those factors include the exchange rate. The exchange rate is not in the domain of the individual; it's the domain of government. If government cannot hold the integrity of the city, you don't turn around and push it to the consumer. Look at the price. Look at in 2008 when prices of petroleum increased at the world market to 147. But after then, we sold it for 5 cedis. Today, look at what is happening. This is government that is at its height of insensitivity. And we should, as I said, ensure that we relieve Ghanaians out of this the stronghold of this government.
They are insensitive.
Thank you very much for coming. It has been an interesting discussion. For us as Muslims, we're told in the Quran 13:11, that God will not change the conditions of a people until they change those conditions within themselves. We have a choice to make on November 7th, to elect a leader who would choose to pay Wayomi, Isofotun, Waterville, or to elect a leader who would invest your resources to improve drainage system in Ghana. See you next week for yet another edition of Minority Caucus.